a certain point where there's simply nothing left to influence you in any way, where you simply do not have any desires, and you're just tired of being, maybe the answer is death, eternal sleep. Because, after you've lived long enough, the prerogative becomes to just rest every chance you get. The older you get, in my case at least, it's just rest. The more I can rest, it's so good. Everything else I could do without.
So you mentioned towards the beginning of your video that and the end of your video that uh, death is eternal sleep. Um, but that's kind of the wrong way to look at it because sleep is something that the living do. The dead are not asleep. Because when you're asleep, uh, you're going to wake up and you're kind of a placeholder for consciousness to resume in this particular brain. If you don't exist, there's no placeholder for your consciousness to resume. And so death would be more like waking up than it is going to sleep or being asleep. Um, so think about the fact the last time you didn't exist. What happened after the last time you didn't exist? Well, a brain came to exist. Your parents copulated and eventually caused a new being to come to exist. And so it was the coming to existence of a brain and consciousness starting up, just a brain in a generic sense, starting up. And that's all it took for consciousness to ensue after you didn't exist. So it's just a brain. You just forget your name, forget everything, and see yourself as just this brain. A brain comes to exist, and consciousness follows your non existence just because of this event happening of a brain starting consciousness. So if you imagine, you know, a thought experiment where that the universe is completely devoid of all life, and then you come to exist. So this brain comes to exist. Just forget your name, forget everything, strip everything down to the most basic thing. A nameless brain, just a brain comes to exist, and then consciousness ensues. And then after this event happens of this brain coming to exist and consciousness ensuing, that is when you get your name and uh, and everything else follows. But so there was non-existence, and then because this brain came to exist and consciousness came to exist, it caused consciousness to come after your non-existence. And so really, let's say there was non-existence, and then consciousness came to exist, and that is what ended non-existence, just the existence of consciousness itself. And this is true for everyone. You didn't exist, but then a life came to exist, and so a life came after non-existence due to a life being born. And so let's go back to the thought experiment. If you rewind it and empty universe once again, and then a brain comes to exist, and then consciousness. And so that non existence is also followed by consciousness. But this time, this brain is not you. It is not the it's a completely different brain. It could be a giraffe brain or whatever. But that would still be, because it is consciousness coming to exist, that would cause consciousness to come after non-existence once again. And so in a way it's as if you were born either way, but it's a completely different you. It's not you. It's not the you that's watching this. It's a, I'm you. I other people call me you. Hey you. You call everyone else you. And so that would be the self, just as you're the self now. And so it's just a matter of consciousness itself coming to exist that ends the non-existence. And it doesn't matter what the consciousness, what's doing the consciousness. It could be an artificial brain or something. It just, it's the existence of consciousness itself doesn't allow nothingness to be. So really, don't even, in this thought experiment, don't even imagine a brain or any way for anything that's doing the consciousness. Just imagine like a black void, and then consciousness itself comes to exist. And so there's experience, and there's no you to avoid that experience being imposed. And so no matter what is responsible for that experience, that is the experience. There's no escaping it. And so if you were never born, the same thing's true. Your non-existence didn't stop this life from being imposed, and your non-existence wouldn't have been able to stop some other life from being imposed. And the same goes after death. There will be lives after you die. People are born, will be born after you die. Animals will be born after you die. And people will exist after you die. If in a thought experiment, if it's just you and one other person, and then you die, well, there's still consciousness. You don't go into that other person, but there's still consciousness, and that's what we really are. It's just there. You didn't. There is no nothingness after you die. There's no black void. There's no sleep or anything. If you completely exist, the only experience there is that other person or whatever else it is. That's the only experience there is, and so it is imposed, as the antinatalists like to say. So after you die, well, there's consciousness all over Earth. Animal brains, human brains, maybe even insect brains. So there would be no way to escape one of those consciousnesses from coming after your non-existence, just as your non-existence wasn't able to stop this consciousness from coming after non-existence. And that's how it was for everyone. Your lack of being wasn't enough to stop consciousness from coming afterwards. Non-existence is not a thing. It doesn't have any agency. And so there is no resting in peace. There is no escape. If you were never born, well, if you were born, you're damned. And if you weren't born, then you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. There's no escape. You just have to make the best of it. I don't know, go on vacation somewhere completely different, completely uh, strange compared to where you've ever been. That's all you can do is make the best of it. There's no escape.